Spotify podcast, on Facebook, on YouTube, on the platform formerly known as Twitter. And the hashtag is In The Know. Coming up today, we'll update you on the latest news headlines from around the community, the county, the Commonwealth, and the country. We will look back on the final day in Lexington for the Sweet 16. Get you caught up on that since we last talked with one another. Also, something happened on the House floor in the legislature last week that is of note. And then we'll also talk about an event going on tomorrow that you need to know about. That and a whole lot more coming up today here on In The Know. Settling into my left, rolling Mach 9 with her hair on fire, is my beautiful wife, the beautiful girl. It's Beach. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Happy to be back over here.
I wondered if you were happy to be back in your normal
like
chair,
that spot.
your normal spot over there. What, too much responsibility or
It's
what?
not that. I don't know. I just like it over here.
Spatially, you don't like it?
No. Creature of habit.
2 weeks until spring break.
Yep.
Are you excited about that?
Sure.
Are you going to do some gardening or
don't know.
you ready to take on your garden yet?
I don't know.
Oh, sounds like a woman who's got choices and options. That's always good to be that way. He is the 5-time winner of the coveted Ohio Newshawk Award. He's the 2-time Silver Sound nominee, covering every corner of the globe: London, Budapest, Rio, Tokyo, and even Litchfield. He's Sam Gormley and the sports. Morning, Sam.
Morning, Ralph.
How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I was having some thoughts about you on my way down the Bluegrass Parkway on Saturday. You reminded me of the Olympics.
Okay.
So one of the sports in the Winter Olympics that I like a lot is the cross country skiing, and whether it's the biathlon where they shoot and combine, etc. But they do like the 26 miles, and these cross country skiers that have been going for like over an hour at max speed, and they just push and push and push and push. And as soon as they cross the line, they just all fall over. Like they don't cool down. They just fall over on their side. And when I left you at your car on Saturday afternoon, I kind of felt like you were a little bit like a cross-country skier. You had just been going max volume for weeks and finally like, I'm tired.
Yeah, I was tired. See, it was funny. I talked to some friends when I got back, and they were like, "Oh, well, you're back." Obviously, they didn't make the state champ, And I was like, I would have loved, like, it would have been awesome. But then part of me was like, "Ooh, that would have been a really, 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 really long day, and I would have been drinking probably multiple Red Bulls to make it through it."
It was a long
That
day.
my
just
voice
trying
was starting to struggle. So
Well, the other thing I noticed yesterday was your voice lasted longer than Cameron Mills, and I don't think he probably had to talk as much as you, although he was on about half the games or so, but he shouldn't be doing near as much talking. But did you hear him yesterday?
I did not. I mean, I heard him on with us because he came over, and that clip I know really, I think, made people happy as to what he said about us. But no, I don't think I did hear him yesterday.
His voice was gone yesterday with Buzz. He basically had to let Billy R. Sports fill in for him because he just sounded like a frog.
Oh, well, shout out to Billy.
Yeah, so congratulations to you on making it through with voice intact. When we wrapped the show on Friday, we were in a hurry to get down to Rupp Arena for the quarterfinals, and I guess I would say that the takeaway from the Friday quarterfinals, upsetting, defeating certainly.
I wouldn't call it an upset.
You called it a 50-50 game during the show, didn't you?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I a line in that game. I think Grayson
they
would have
certainly
been
had better talent and more. They had more depth. They got down, but managed to find a way to come back and end the season of the defending champions. And then from there forward, everything was just a bonus. Everything was gravy. But I have to tell you, watching the Cougars defeat Great Crossing in Rupp Arena on Friday was maybe my favorite day as a Cougar fan. Like of all the days. Now the 2001 winning the regional championship was something, but just going to a new level for Grayson County High School and getting to the semifinals on Saturday was I don't know. I was just like elated at it, and it really made for a great afternoon and a lot of celebrating in Lexington and in Litchfield, and then boy, the Orange showed up on Saturday morning. By far, I guess I'm estimating probably around 3,000 people. I
Easily.
I counted the number of seats that are in those sections, and then how many sections we occupied. Plus, we were spread all over the arena in various patches, and so yeah, at least 3,000 people, and all together just filling up one end. It was an impressive sight. Looking back after you've had 48 hours? What's your takeaway, Sam?
Great run. Great run. They have a lot to be really, really proud of. I mean, for a lot of reasons. I mean, most wins in school history, furthest that any team has been, for Grayson County High School. And it, and I think the fans have a lot to be proud of too for how they turned out. I mean, you heard, if you didn't hear on air with us, Cameron Mills, that clip that we have on our social medias, that wasn't something that we asked him to come on. He just walked over and he literally said, "I want the headset." Said, I mean,
Yeah.
if Cameron Mills comes over and says, "I want to go on air," you say yes. And he said yes. And Dick Gabriel, who was also on there, he was very complimentary of just everything Grayson, on just the sheer amount of people. He sat next to us before the Great Crossing game, and said just could not be more complimentary of everything and how hard Grayson played. And they were the darlings of the tournament, and they just ran into a buzzsaw on Saturday morning.
Yeah. And when after I saw St. X play, I said, no one's going to beat that team. But now GRC was on the other half of the bracket, so we never saw them play because we weren't part of the evening session on Friday. But we did see them warming up, and so they did have some size, and I saw them warming up for the second semifinal game. But they just, I don't know what the Jackson, number 23 Jackson for St. X, the one that lit us up, he didn't do anything in the final. And without his contribution, it made it easier for GRC to win in overtime. And for the first time since 1928, the same high school wins both the boys and girls Sweet 16. GRC girls last week, week before last now, and GRC boys just last week. So big time in Winchester on Saturday night, I'm sure. I made a note. You and I were talking to the PA announcer for the Sweet 16, and he was really He watched our pep rally, like the guy. This is his 48th tournament. He told us, "I watched your pep rally last week," and I thought, well, I wonder how many people around the state were watching that. He's talked about the auction. He's like, "Man, that auction was awesome," etc. And so, in the spur of the moment, you said to me, we were talking about Caneyville High School, etc., and you said Caneyville reached the semifinals in '68, and I said, yes, I did, but we got interrupted. What I didn't speculate on was about the '62 team. They also got to the semifinals. So 62, 68, and then I was able to find some information. I now have a complete list of teams from Grayson County have defeated in the Sweet 16. Would you like that list?
I'm looking at it right now.
62, they defeated Fulton in round one. They were the fourth region champions then, by the way, in 62. They upset Lexington Henry Clay in the quarterfinals, and then they lost to Larry Conley and an Ashland team in the semifinals. Woody Neal was in his first year as head coach at Caneyville High School. E.E. McGee was the assistant coach in 1962. And then in 68, the tournament was also played in Louisville. In that famous semifinal in the third region championship, there was a technical foul in overtime that led to Caneyville making free throws to get by Owensboro, but then they turned around and defeated Davis County by more than 30 points in the final. Then when they got to Louisville, the round one, they defeated Paducah Tillman. They upset Shelby County in the quarterfinals and then lost to eventual state champion Glasgow in the semifinals. And that was Bill Lee was the head coach that year, and E.E. McGee was the assistant coach. So now you add Adair County in 2009, you add Taylor County in 2026, and you add Great Crossing in 2026. So that list is getting more healthy by the year, and I look forward to adding more.
Yeah, hopefully as soon as next year for them. And then they just have so much to be proud of. And I think, I don't know that they realize that yet. Right. I don't know when they will. Being that age, I think it'll take some time for that to set in. But they have just a ton to be proud of on the ride that they went on, because it was it was a lot of fun, and it made our jobs easy.
Absolutely, it was a great ride, and enjoyed spending time in Lexington, taking the show on the road, and so now maybe a little bit of a break and right into spring sports. So luckily that's not 3 and 4 nights a week. So maybe get to dial it down just a little bit.
Yeah, we had because the Cougar baseball, they have their first home game tonight. We had somebody message us saying, "Are you going to be there tonight?" And I said, I think we're going to take a couple of days just to recharge.
Yeah, we do need a couple, but it does make me wonder if Chase will be in the lineup today.
Yes,
he's not really in baseball shape yet, but he definitely is in basketball shape. Cooler and calm to start the work week. We're going to see decreasing clouds today, highs in the 50s. Warmer by late week. We'll see highs near 80 on Thursday. We're going to jump into the 60s and 70s on Wednesday. Today, morning clouds, afternoon sun, a high of 54. Tonight, partly cloudy, an overnight low of 35. And then morning clouds, some afternoon clearing tomorrow, and a high of 60, and then warmer from there. The president had threatened to strike power plants in Iran if they did not open up the Strait of Hormuz, and the Iranians said they were threatening to completely close the Strait of Hormuz. The president has backed off a little bit on his threat to this morning. He posted that they were trying to get a deal done rather than strike their power grid. You might have seen this morning that deadly plane crash at LaGuardia in New York, where an Air Canada Express plane landed on a runway that a fire truck was crossing en route to another emergency at LGA. And the air traffic controller made a mistake in sending that fire truck across that runway as the Air Canada plane was landing. There were some injuries and then 2 fatalities. Both members of the flight crew in the cockpit lost their lives in that accident. You're also seeing some ICE agents trying to help TSA at Americans airports, probably where you see TSA agents normally roaming around the outside and going around with the drug dogs, et cetera. I think you're seeing ICE fill that role so more TSA people can help with passenger screening, but it is tough sledding in the airline sector right now. Former FBI Director Robert Mueller, who investigated the Russia-Trump collusion campaign ties, died over the weekend at age 81. The Caneyville Fire Department, with assistance from 2 Grayson County fire departments, battled a large woods fire on Friday. It occurred Friday afternoon about 3 in the 800 block of Reddy Jackson Road. That's off of Highway 185, about 4 miles south of Caneyville. Firefighters at the scene found several acres on fire in a heavily wooded area. Litchfield and Falls of Rough also responded to provide mutual aid. It was difficult to access due to some uneven terrain spread by a steady wind. It took about 2 hours to get it under control, and the Division of Forestry arrived, bulldozed the area to ensure there were no flare-ups, and they cleared, I think, about 4:45 on Friday. There was a police chase that led through 3 counties last week. It began, actually, it's been a couple of weeks ago. This goes back to March 12th, but the information is just out today. It started in the 1400 block of Brandenburg Road. No, it actually started on the town square, where they found a truck that had a non-visible license plate, went out to the 1400 block of Brandenburg Road, and then during the next half hour, a Ford F-250 being driven by 35-year-old Chad Clemens fled at speeds between 50 and 90 miles per hour, making numerous turns on roads, went into Breckinridge County, went into Hardin County, and then Grayson County is also involved, of course. It went to Dry Ridge Road near Eastview. State police got involved as well. It went Hardin Springs Road, Dry Ridge Road, Miller Lane, and finally ran out of road. He bailed out of the truck, went and hid. The Vine Grove Police Department brought their thermal drone and found him, and he was arrested and charged on more than 20 counts. A motorcyclist was killed after crossing the center line in Hardin County. Crash happened Saturday afternoon about 2:15 on Rineyville Big Springs Road, about 7 miles west of Rineyville. The Hardin County Sheriff's Office said its investigation showed that a westbound 04 Honda Shadow motorcycle crossed the center line and collided with an oncoming SUV. The male motorcyclist, who was not wearing a helmet, was transported to Baptist Health Hardin, where he was later pronounced deceased. A truck driver was resuscitated by EMS after becoming entrapped in a semi-truck that had flipped over in Breckinridge County. The crash happened in the 1000 block of Highway 1401 Thursday morning. when a semi being driven north by 71-year-old Michael Schaefer flipped after a rear wheel on the trailer dipped off the roadway. He was extricated and resuscitated by the Breck Central EMS and transported to Breck Memorial, where Air Methods transported the patient to higher care. It's unclear where he is receiving treatment. That happened last week. Michigan State ended the U of L men's basketball season on Saturday, 77-69. They were, again, without Mikhail Brown. They could have used his talents on Saturday. So the U of L offseason begins. And then just one day later, the UK men's basketball season has come to a close as their postseason begins after Iowa State gets it going, comes back from a deficit. And there for a while yesterday afternoon, it looked like that Iowa State could have won by 30. The Cats managed to cut it back to 19 and just kind of keep it there the rest of the way. The Cats in 22-14. There was a time on Friday about halftime of the Cougar game that it looked like the Cougars basketball season was going to last longer than the UK men's basketball season.
Yeah. And see, it was very weird not watching the Kentucky game.
I actually forgot about it for a while.
Yeah, I when it started, I didn't check the first score update until about 10 minutes into the game. Obviously, that's just because we were a little busy. We had a little bit going on.
If not for the heroics or just a great shot in overtime. No, it was to force overtime. Mm-hmm. The Cats were beat, but Otega Owe threw one in from, 30 feet, something like that, to force overtime, and then the Cats were able to be victorious in overtime. So Cats and Cards both home for the rest of the season. No second weekend for either of those programs. The UK women will play today, though. Coach Kenny Brooks will have his squad ready to play West Virginia on West Virginia's home floor. The winner will earn a trip to the Sweet 16. The Wildcat women are the number 5 seed in the Fort Worth region, and looking forward to advancing in the tournament, and I hope they do. That's pretty much where our hopes are at this point. Sam, you're still on top of the bracket. I was going into Saturday night. I was in second place. Not sure how I managed to do that, but I think ended the weekend maybe in third place or so. So the bracket contest continuing to go. So the Sweet 16 is ahead.
Nacho's in second.
Yeah, he noticed that he had jumped in there between us with some brilliant picks of his own. I had Florida going to the Final Four. Luckily, I didn't have them in the final game, but Florida exits the tournament as well. Got to get to a break. When we come back, there was a citation on the House floor last week that we're going to play for you. I think you'll find it interesting. And then there is a fair going on. The Hope and Healing Expo is tomorrow. We're going to tell you all about that coming up here on In the Know.
At Owensboro Health Family Medicine in Litchfield, Dr. Priyank Chauhan provides compassionate care for adults and seniors. Board certified in internal and geriatric medicine, he's dedicated to managing chronic conditions, preserving independence, and enhancing the quality of life. Proudly serving Grayson County because your health matters. Schedule today. Call Owensboro Health Family Medicine in Litchfield at 270-259-8888.
If you're like most small business owners, you likely thought that managing finances would never end. Well, relief is here, and Buckles, Travis & Hart awaits you. Streamline your operations with our expert payroll processing, tax liability management, unemployment reporting, and financial reporting services. Stay lean. Stay focused. It's all here with Buckles, Travis & Hart. Transform your business today at GraysonCPAs.com. Call 259-5604. Your built-in business manager.
Looking for a place to connect and make a difference? At the Moose Lodge, you'll be stepping into a place where children find hope and seniors find care. Experience the fun of gaming and drinks while socializing with other members in our licensed lounge. We are inviting qualified guests to visit and consider membership. Be part of something meaningful. The Grayson County Moose Lodge is at 289 Alex Drive in Falls of Rough, where community meets connection. Stop by or follow us on Facebook for more information.
Remember when your friend used to say,
"Let's just wing it,"
Then you tried planning a trip alone, and when you got lost, your friend said,
"Told you we should have called an expert."
So you decided to try again, but with a pro. Now your friend is off on an unplanned adventure. Don't wing your dream vacation. Contact the certified experts at Your Global Getaway.
Visit yourglobalgetaway.com.
Diane from Michigan, a disabled senior citizen trying to get by. Henry from Florida, a veteran fighting to make ends meet. Elena from Arizona, a mother struggling to feed her daughter. Hi, I'm Connie Britton, and I support Feeding America because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year, like Diane, Henry, and Elena. Learn more at feedingamerica.org. Feeding America. 200 food banks strong.
Kentucky's outdoors is calling, and the time to answer is now. From world-class fishing on our lakes, rivers, and streams to renowned deer, turkey, small game, and other great hunting opportunities across the Commonwealth, don't forget your hunting and fishing license. Don't hunt or fish? You can still support conservation by joining Kentucky Wild and helping protect our most vulnerable wildlife. Hunting and fishing licenses, Kentucky Wild memberships, they're investments in our wildlife and outdoor spaces, so they thrive for generations to come. Get yours today at fw.ky.gov. Sponsored by the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources.
Internet users are once again mocking OpenAI CEO Sam Altman for a post he made on X. He thanked people who wrote extremely complex software, character by character. Users pointed out that AI is destroying those very jobs. An AI agent at Meta gave sensitive internal information to employees who were not supposed to be in the loop. The company confirmed the story that was first reported by the news site The Information. They said the AI agent gave an engineer bad advice, which resulted in a massive release of data that lasted for about 2 hours. Newly released video shows a Tesla Cybertruck crashing and nearly flying off a freeway overpass in Texas. The driver says the truck was in autopilot when it slammed into a concrete barrier. The dashcam video was released because she's now suing Tesla for $1 million. As Facebook battles TikTok and YouTube, they're offering threats of guaranteed payments to creators with big followings. They're offering TikTok and YouTube creators $3,000 a month if they have 1 million followers. Tech Report, I'm Mark Mayfield.
Sits a ragged tent where there ain't no trees, and that gospel group telling you and me it's love, brother, love, save love.
Today is Chip and Dip Day. Any type of chip or dip that you want. I suppose salsa counts as a dip if you'd like. It's also Melba Toast Day today. If you've been with the show a long time, you know that that was always the treat. My parents would go to the lodge to eat, and they might leave us with our grandparents to come and brought you Melba toast and breadsticks. Oh, that's wonderful. I think we went to the lodge back in January, and you were wondering if they had Melba toast that day. I didn't find any, but that's okay.
Wondering for you.
Yeah. Last Wednesday was day number 50 of the legislative session for the Kentucky House and Senate. And it was the 19th, a couple days after St. Patrick's Day. And Representative Heverin made it to the House floor, and she, along with Suzanne Miles from down at Davis County, used about 3 minutes on the floor to honor former Mayor Thomason. And Jason shared this with me yesterday, and I thought that I would use a couple of minutes and share it with you. So here are Representative Heverin's remarks from the House floor on Wednesday.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we honor Turkey Thomason, who was the former mayor of Litchfield. He was a lot of great things. He was an honorable veteran of the United States Marine Corps, a respected insurance agency manager for Kentucky Farm Bureau for over 60 years, a member of the Litchfield City Council for 36 years, the former mayor of Litchfield for 24 years before he retired in 2018. He was a founding member of the Litchfield Lions Club and the American Legion Post 81. He was the first person appointed to the board of Citizens Bank, which is now Wilson & Muir, and a lifelong member of the Litchfield United Methodist Church. He was the oldest living member of the Grayson County Fair Board at the time of his passing last week. He served on the Grayson County Chamber Board of Directors for 19 years. He received the first Hall of Fame award from the Chamber in 2018. But most of all, Turkey Thomason was known for the guy that had the pumpkins on West Walnut Street. He always decorated his home beautifully with pumpkins. He also did a lot of inflatables, which everyone enjoyed driving by for Christmas. Turkey was a friend to many in our community, and he was really a giant that will have a huge missing spot in Litchfield. He loved Litchfield, but most importantly, he loved his family. I would now yield to the lady from Davis for words.
Chair recognizes the lady from Davis.
Thank you, lady from Grayson. Yes, it's kind of one of those deals where you keep wanting to call someone a different name than what their nickname is, and so every time I would go into that county, I would always want to call him Mayor, Mayor Bill, Mayor whatever. But he was very insistent, and he was very proud of being called Turkey. Quite a joy, but she said he was a giant in the community, but he was a gentle giant. He was a very selfless, generous human being. He and his wife, Carolyn, I never saw those people that they weren't constantly serving the community day and night, anytime, at all times. And they were definitely a friend to any and all. So we're sad to see him lay to rest, but good and faithful servant he was. Yield back to the lady from Grayson.
Lady from Grayson.
Thank you. I would just add before I move for adoption, of all the social media posts that were shared with me, I did give up social media for Lent, so people shared them. It just talked about how he was willing to give the shirt off his back to anybody. He loved everybody that he came across, and he really cared for them, whether they were blood, family, or not. And so I hope that we can all be a little bit more like Turkey. And just, I'm grateful for the legacy he left for our community in Litchfield and Grayson County. I would now move for adoption.
And of course, they did go on to adopt that. It's, one thing to hear from your own representative, a person in your community, but someone who is not specifically from the community. And Representative Miles offering her remarks, I think, meant a lot and was good to hear. So just wanted to share that with you, and so you know what had happened on the House floor on day number 50 of the legislative session. Coming up tomorrow, there is an event going on at the Center on Main that historically you would have known this as the Mental Health and Addiction Resource Fair. And it is a product, I guess, spearheaded by Owensboro Health Twin Lakes, but it's got other community partners involved as well. The new name is the Hope and Healing Expo, and it reflects a broader, a more welcoming focus, if you will, on recovery, resilience, and community support. It can involve addiction, of course, but doesn't have to. They felt like it was narrow-casted in a way, and then also relabeling it Hope and Healing is more of an affirmative, right? You're looking for what you're hoping to gain and accomplish by that. So they're going to try and connect. The mission has always been, but it will continue to be, to connect individuals and families with practical and accessible mental health and addiction resources available in a region. They're trying to make it easier for people to take that first step forward. People that trying to support themselves or people that they care about. Sometimes that, any journey, no matter how long, starts with one step, and you have to take that one first before you can take steps 2, 3, or 4 and beyond. One of the good things that came out of COVID was a relaxation of the stigma on mental health and mental health issues, because I think we all, at some level, we always said we were all in the same storm, but we weren't in the same boat. And your vessel would have been different based upon the storm conditions that you received, but it was the same storm. So your ability to navigate that was different. So you might have been in a super mega yacht or a cargo ship that's less likely to get thrown about, but you still knew that there was a storm and you had to. So there's stigma, confusion, lack of information often prevent people from seeking support. So this expo is designed to just help break down barriers and offer some clear information and face-to-face conversations in a welcoming environment. And if I'm right on this, honey, let me know. Is this kind of a tabletop setup?
It is.
where you can kind of go station to station. And I would imagine it gives the ability to have some informal conversations that perhaps could lead to deeper conversations later on a road to recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's, yes, recovery is a big portion of that. Mental health. There are also just some basic needs that are actually addressed as well. So, like, I'm on Frisky board, so the FRC, they set up a table as well to, so things that aren't, maybe some people don't know that are offered throughout the community. Like, we work with grandparents that are raising children. There's all types of resources. I love, love, love this event. It is one of my favorites. I love to talk to people. And it's like you said, I met a gentleman last year or the year before, and I made my lap through all of the people and then the tables. And, but I went back to him and I sat next to him for quite some time because they were getting ready to launch a new recovery center down the road. So anyway, it was very interesting. I learned, I've learned a lot through these. There's so many resources,
And this is an opera, and it's one of the reasons that it got labeled the Resource Fair originally, because that was pretty straightforward on what it was. This is a fair where you can find resources. And now we're trying to talk about hope and healing, and it's still, there's still plenty of resources. And it will be for improved mental well-being and addiction recovery, but also nicotine replacement.
Yes.
So something that's also an addiction as well. Free tote bag for first 150 visitors. There's lunch for all who attend. There will be door prizes. And so the organizers of the event want just to make sure that that help's available. It's closer than maybe you often realize that it is. You don't need to wait. The worst time to try and do maintenance on your home is during a storm. Now, you need to do the maintenance before the storm arrives. Same thing with your mental health. It doesn't have to be a crisis for you to reach out. Knowing where things are, access to things ahead of time can certainly help. And the Hope and Healing Expo, one more way that the healthcare community is working to ensure every person has access to the information, the support, and care that they need to move forward with stability, recovery, and hope. That's tomorrow. And I don't know that Mackenzie gave me the hours. Do you know the hours tomorrow?
I think it's at 10. I think it starts at 10.
Okay.
I'm
And
pretty
runs
sure
throughout
in
the
my
afternoon.
mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to, at the end of the show, I'm going to go. One other thing to add to that. So yes, all those things are available and it's great. But one of the most important things also for me is they have conversation starters for you. So if you have a loved one or things like that, they have conversation starters. And so not only just the resources, but sometimes it's hard to go about that with someone, right? That may be having mental health issues or addiction issues. So you can actually talk to people from various, I don't know what the businesses, for lack of a better word.
Providers.
Yes,
Yeah.
and get help on that side too. So, if you want to help a family member or something like that.
This headline is kind of a first cousin to that story, that researchers are proposing green prescriptions where doctors recommend structured botanical garden visits for patients with depression, chronic illness, or PTSD. Experts argue botanical gardens, which attract over 500 million visitors yearly, should become central to urban health planning because they provide greater psychological benefits than simple green spaces. Studies show gardens reduce stress, promote mindfulness, and help process eco-anxiety about environmental destruction. Those of us who live out in rural areas, we understand, right, how much benefit there is to that, and people that enjoy gardens, etc. If you live in a metropolitan landscape that doesn't have any, opportunity to put your hands in the dirt, etc., so a botanical garden, which people, they've got they can be helpful to people. So interesting prescription. And a new study says that sleep tracking apps may worsen sleep for those who need help most. Researchers surveyed over 1,000 adults and found sleep tracking apps often create more anxiety than relief. Nearly half had used sleep apps, but only 15% reported actual sleep improvement. About 18% said apps made them more worried about sleep, while 14% felt something was wrong with their rest. People with insomnia experience significantly higher negative effects, including heightened worry about sleep patterns, etc. They did
guess
some
I can see that.
demographic study as well. Yeah,
can too.
I can see.
I don't look at mine anymore unless I'm telling you what time I fell asleep.
I mean, I went for 53 years without tracking my sleep. Where it has helped me, and I don't worry about it. I kind of look at it and go, "Oh, okay, well that was the number." But having that sleep schedule though, and actually building it into trying to encourage yourself to get enough rest. Now, when my watch tells me, you might want to think about getting ready for bed, it is at least it's an accountability aspect where it's something that I have asked it to do for me. And even if I don't feel like, I'm like, I don't want to go to bed, it at least gives me some type of encouraging nudge to say, hey, you might want to, might want to do this, might want to look out. And most often I do, especially if it's during the week, like, time to head that way, I guess. So, so track your sleep if you like. And if you don't, don't. Got to get to a break. We'll come back. Today's Did You Know is coming up. You're on In the Know.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire, or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-295-4682. 800-295-4682. Again, that's 800-295-4682.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-340-5510. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-340-5510. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-340-5510.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
3-year-old Reagan was treated at St. Jude.
Sparkly.
Now she can spend her days playing dress up.
I look beautiful in this.
Instead of thinking about cancer. The team at St. Jude has helped push the overall childhood cancer survival rate in the U.S. from 20% to more than 80%, and we won't stop. Let's help more kids just be kids. Learn more at stjude.org. Finding cures, saving children.
K105, weather from the Wave Storm Tracking Team, is brought to you by Your Global Getaway. Start planning your adventure now at yourglobalgetaway.com.
Twin Lakes weather. We'll see much more sunshine around for this afternoon with highs in the low to mid 50s. For tonight, partly to mostly cloudy skies as temperatures drop down into the 30s. Tomorrow, starting off with some clouds, ending up with some sunshine with highs mainly in the 50s. From the Wave News Storm Tracking Team, I'm meteorologist Tawana Ingram.
Did you know? According to experts, camels have the worst breath in the animal kingdom.
Okay.
Camels have the worst breath.
Who's the breath smeller out there?
Yeah. Who's
Yeah, who decided? I guess there are camel jockeys, people who ride. They race camels, in portions of the world. So maybe they've got firsthand experience. I understand. Do camels spit?
Llamas do.
Llamas do?
Is it llamas? I don't know. I don't
I'm
know.
not sure either. So maybe they need a halitosis expert.
Something.
The weekend
Yes, they
box
do
office.
spit, but it's not
Okay.
spit. It's a form of vomit combined with saliva and stomach cud.
Ooh, even better.
Cud CD, yeah.
That's more better.
Uh-huh.
The weekend box office. Project Hail Mary dominates with $80.5 million. That is the Ryan Gosling sci-fi thriller at $80.5 million domestically. That's the that's the biggest debut of the year so far. Hoppers, which is Disney Pixar, dropped from first to second after maintaining the top 2 spot for the 2 consecutive weeks, added $18 million additional dollars. Durandar 2, I don't know if that's how you say that, The Revenge, which is an Indian action film, claimed third. Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, is next. And then Reminders of Him, the romantic drama, rounds out the top 5. Netflix has announced a Kevin Hart live roast that Shane Gillis will host. That will be coming up Sunday, May 10th. The Tom Brady roast was on there in 2024, and now it'll be Kevin Hart, called The Greatest Roast of All Time. Oh, no, Greatest Roast of All Time, Tom Brady was that one. And this one, I don't know if they've actually named it yet or not. You told me that while the state tournament was going on, you watched the Derek Strooper special. Stroop, not Strooper.
Yes.
Derek Stroop special.
Mhm.
Was it as good as Whitney and I led you to believe it
Yeah,
was?
it was really, really funny. It was really, really funny.
He says a vape never saved Thanksgiving.
Right?
Right,
A
we were
vape
talking
never
about
saved
that.
Thanksgiving. Walk it off.
Yeah, it's good.
It
It's
was
good.
really good. I sent it to Anna. I was like, maybe you'll understand more.
Speaking of Netflix, I learned this morning that the Yankees will kick off the Major League Baseball season Wednesday night on Netflix.
Hmm.
So, well,
Okay.
that'll maybe soothe my wounds a little bit now that there's no more NCAA basketball for me, at least on the men's side. Denise Richards has shared her before and after photos of her facelift, said she was terrified to undergo. Basically, the only reason I'm sharing this with you is that I hadn't seen her recently, but her after photo looks like what I thought she looked like 15 years ago. You know, so she's without makeup, etc., but
Nice.
did a pretty good job, right? I mean, that's kind of what she looked like before she
Yep.
aged like the rest of us. And
It looks really good.
I mean, it happens. Yeah, I thought it looked really good as well. And then, have you all seen this social media trend? I saw Yukon do it over the weekend. Me in the 90s. Have you seen?
I've seen it.
I don't think so. No.
These are people that are basically going back and saying what I was doing in the 90s or me in the 90s because we're far enough from them now. People are like, well, what were you doing in the 90s?
Well,
SZA, the artist, she shared a new cover of a song that she did and with a bunch of pictures from her in the 90s. She did a cover of the Goo Goo Dolls' Iris, and it's really good. Bring the bass line. We got to get to a break. We'll come back, finish it up for the morning here on In the Know. Point to Ponder next.
I'll bet you got married thinking you speak the same language as your spouse does, didn't you? Don't be too hard on yourself. My wife Jean and I used to think the same way about each other, and we learned the hard way that we may use the same words, but we don't always understand each other. One notable example happened a few years ago when my wife made an unusual request for her birthday. Wanting to save a little money, she told me, "Jim, please don't buy me a gift for my birthday this year." In response, I told her, "Okay." Then I shrugged my shoulders and went about my business. Of course, Jean's birthday was just a few days later. And that morning, I gave her a kiss, wished her a happy birthday, and then went to make breakfast for the two of us. It only took a few minutes for Jean to shuffle into the kitchen, blurry-eyed, to say, "No breakfast in bed? No homemade cards from the boys?" Jim, I told you not to buy me a gift. I didn't mean don't do anything. Wow, did I miss it? See what I mean? What you say and what your spouse hears may be two very different things, and those differences can easily lead to miscommunication and misunderstanding. But your differences can also lead to deeper connection and intimacy if you'll harness your differences and point them in the right direction. The secret to getting on the same page is to learn each other's language. The best marriages are experienced by couples who hear not just what their spouses say, but what they mean. For Focus on the Family, I'm Jim Daly.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I had a lot of credit card debt and it stressed me out. But what I thought was a solution turned out to be a problem. I kept hearing ads about debt settlement that seemed too good to be true. And actually, it was. When I called, they told me to stop paying my bills. That didn't sound right to me at all, so I hung up. Later, I found out that debt settlement is bad, real bad. Then I learned that there is a right way to pay off your credit cards. It's called a debt management program from the great team at Trinity. Trinity had a plan. In the end, I paid off my bills, I saved thousands, and I even improved my credit score.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5348.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-936-5348.
Attention men, here's a great way to have more fun in bed and save money. If you want to take something like Viagra, they can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Yes, $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men to improve their performance and confidence. You'll love them. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get 50 or more for around $100. You'll save hundreds of dollars off retail prices. That's enough to buy your date a nice dinner. Don't pay expensive prices for Viagra. Call now, order 50 or more of our blue pills, and pay as little as $2 a pill and save hundreds of dollars. Call anytime for confidential shipping.
Call 800-830-0715. That's 800-830-0715. Again, 800-830-0715.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
MB's Point to Ponder for today. If you could, what would you choose as your superpower and why? So, would it be
Probably invisibility.
invisibility? I would be inclined to do teleportation. So I could just instantly go
Yeah, that's a
anywhere
really
I
good one.
wanted to go without commuting and
Yeah.
saving time, money, etc.
Because I don't like to. Yeah,
I
that's
did,
a good one.
I did consider flight,
Yeah.
but then
Time
if
travel?
you could
Does
just-
time travel count?
Well,
I think it would count, right?
I think you could do. I was reading a list of potential ones. Shape shifting is one where you like flexibility to change form to suit your environment that you're in.
I'd like to be able to talk to animals, but I wouldn't choose that first.
Or then you could.
Sorry, Gertie.
Sam, yours would be like time manipulation. You know, it's a form of time travel. What about mind reading?
As long as you could turn it off.
Yes. 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 Oh, yes. I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to have it nonstop reading people's minds.
Yeah, I could see where that would be fatiguing.
Well, so is it Bruce Almighty that the movie, like, so he ends up turning into, like, temporarily, like, what it's like to be God, to hear all the prayers and stuff all the time? Can you imagine?
Oh, yeah.
Is that Bruce Almighty?
I think that's right, yeah.
So, yeah, hearing everybody's minds, and oh, wow, some of them would be doozies.
By the way, I probably should have mentioned it earlier in the show, and I'll try to mention it earlier in the show later in the week. But I was reminded this morning, I was talking with Davey Norris, and I also mentioned it at church yesterday. The Lamb of God Easter drama will be at the Purple Flash Center Palm Sunday at 7, so that's this coming Sunday, and Good Friday at 7. So 2 performances of the Lamb of God. One on Palm Sunday, Sunday evening, one on Friday evening, Good Friday at 7 o'clock. So it's always good. On TV tonight, The Neighborhood is on CBS. The Voice is on NBC. American Idol is on ABC tonight. Today's highlight in history, this date in 1998, Titanic tied an Academy Awards record by winning 11 Oscars. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Song for My Heart Will Go On. Also on this date, in 1775, Patrick Henry gave his famous "Give me liberty or give me death" remarks.
Okay.
Lewis and Clark began their return to St. Louis this day in 1806. They basically pulled up stakes and packed it up and headed back. I don't know how long. I'm not sure how long they stayed. They probably stayed more than a day. Like they pulled up to the West Coast and go, well, there it is. Let's go home. No, I think they probably stayed for a while. Birthdays today. Shaka Khan is 73. Kenneth Cole is 72. Jason Kidd is 53. Carrie Russell is 50. And country singer Brett Young is 45 today. Gone but not forgotten, Schuyler Colfax, our 17th United States Vice President. He was Vice President under U.S. Grant. Roger Bannister was born in 1929. Rick Ocasek from the Cars, born in 1949. And Moses Malone, he was born in 1955. He had a single-game playoff record for most of offensive rebounds. He had most consecutive games without a disqualification at 1,212. Most free throws made at 8,531. I don't know if those records still stand, but they did at one point in time. Chart toppers for today. Here's a song that if you go to Nolin Lake or Rough River Lake at any point in time in the summer, you can't go out there without hearing this song blasting from all the boats running up and down the lake.
Cruising down the river on a Sunday afternoon.
1949. Well, you don't think people play this at the lake?
No, I don't. And, in my mind, I imagine more like a Disney boat. You know what I mean? Like the one that goes, which is that one?
Yeah.
The one over, is it Frontierland? No, the one over there, Tiana's on it.
Oh.
I don't know, never mind.
Splash Mountain.
Yeah, over there. That's what I imagine.
Jerry Lee Lewis, number 1 in 58. Breathless. Let's go to 1967. All right, let's go to 1976, but we're going to be singing about 1963.
Oh, it's a good night. Oh, what a night, right?
Pretty good for him. Seemed like they used that as the closer in Jersey Boys, just because it's anthemic. You know, they use that as a way to kind of wrap up the show. 1985.
Where was that in the 90s?
Just the way that they look. They're just
Sitting over here.
1994.
Okay.
Ace of Base. All right, let's go to the 2000s. 2003.
Goodness.
I put your picture away. Sat down
Rob
and cried
and Cheryl.
Also on the list.
I can't look at you while I'm lying next to her.
All right, let's go forward to 2012. And number one in 2021 was The Weeknd with Blinding Lights. Good one.
Yeah.
All right, MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today says, the sky is not the limit, your mind is. The sky is not the limit, your mind is. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Remember, God loves you, and I do too. If you don't know Jesus, let me know and I'll introduce you. Look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for another edition of our show. For Sam Gormley, for Beej, I'm MB, and now you're in the know.
The Twin Lakes Best Mix is WKHG Litchfield. The Twin Lakes Best Mix, K105.